During your job interview, your potential employer wants to find out what kind of person you are and how you'll fit into their organisation. They'll do this by asking you a few questions about your qualifications, work experience you've had, and what kind of person you are. Let's go. Here are a few tips from some experts on how to handle yourself in a job interview. Hi.
Be really clear, straight and to the point, and try not to waffle too much because that makes it look like you're really nervous. I think it's great to be able to allow your personality to come through because people like working with other people, and for them to be able to see a little bit about who you are is a really positive thing too.
Oh, in a job interview, the best way to make an impression is to keep eye contact and feel like you're actually having a conversation. In fact, I'd say don't treat it like a job interview. Treat it like a conversation you're having with someone about who you are and what this job's about.
Never turn up without a spare copy of a resume. Even if they've got it, just assume it's always good to have another copy there.
Here are some typical questions you'll be asked during a job interview and how to answer them.
The biggest question a lot of them ask is, what do you know about the company? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And when you're 16, who knows what you want to do in 5 years?
Yeah, I had to do a group interview. It was like about 3 or 4 of us there. It was actually really weird questions because they're like, what is something that you regret in your past and how would you like to change it? I don't know, just random questions like that. But yeah, obviously they ask you normal questions like, have you worked before and stuff like that, so yeah.
If you sit at the interview and they ask you the question, what are your strengths, and you shrug your shoulders and say, I can't think of one, it's unlikely that they'll employ you.
Another hard one that they find to answer is, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Your strengths should be pretty easy because that's what led you to take this particular interview. Weaknesses, a lot of young people don't like to talk about their weaknesses. They need to talk about it. It needs to be relative to the job, and they also need to add on to it what they're doing to strengthen that weakness, so not just leave it as a negative, make sure that they turn that negative into a positive.
They might be in a situation where they haven't got a whole lot of experience and they might be up against someone that has got a year of experience in a certain area. They're able to then say, look, I realise I'm not terribly experienced at this kind of thing, but I'm undertaking this course, I'm keen to take on any training opportunities, and any opportunity I get to make up that gap, I'll be going for it. So what you've basically done there is you've identified the weakness, you've turned it around to show that that's an area of your focus and you're doing as much as you can to make up that ground.
Probably the most daunting one for young people would be, tell me about yourself. They find it really difficult to do that. And I guess apart from giving a brief history, they need to talk about their skills, what led them to come to the interview, and what their aspirations are for the future. Probably another question is, what interests you about our products and services? I've interviewed many people that don't know what your products and services are. So it's really important to know your industry again and have done some research so that you can say what you like about the products and services. So that's pretty important too.
So you need to think about the job that you're applying for and get an understanding of what the important selection criteria is, whether it's punctuality or reliability or whatever it might be, and feed that back to them at the interview.
So, what do you do if you haven't had a job before and can't answer the questions?
Try and anticipate what they want in the job and what skills you've got, especially if it's in your past history, that can possibly fill that gap. And it might just be personal attributes that you've got that can add to that. You know, you're a fun person to sort of be around, you're a hard worker, you enjoy the rush of a busy work environment. Something like that, even at the base level when you haven't worked before, can be put in the eyes of an employer as a really positive thing.
You know, there's more to being a success in a job interview than having good qualifications and getting great marks.
What employers are looking for in an employee, more than anything else, is their ability to get on with others in the workplace.
It's really important to be prepared to ask them some questions too. How can I further my skills in the business?
Look up the company, what they do, prepare for the interview so know what sort of questions they're going to ask, write down some that you want to ask.
Go in there with sort of 8 or 10 questions. Some of them will be covered during the interview, but guaranteed there'll be 4 or 5 left over that will show that you're interested and you want to set yourself apart from the rest of the group going for interviews as well.
Should I ask them about the pay?
That makes them think that you're only interested in the money And if that question comes up, you say, I don't know, it depends on what you think it'd be worth, depending on how good I am in the role.
All right, I'll save the pay questions for later. What do you do if you get interviewed over the phone?
Your body language on the other side of the phone still has to be right. You still need to smile and do all those things because you can feel all of that over the phone.
Get dressed. Get dressed as though you're going for the job interview, because if you're sitting there in your pyjamas, well, that's a little bit laid back and relaxed, so you're not taking yourself seriously, and that will come through on the phone.
Okay, what you shouldn't do in a job interview is pretend you're perfect. So an interviewer will ask you a question and they're trying to work out what sort of person you are. Trying to gloss over everything like you're perfect will often put interviewers off.
This job interview is almost over. Whew. Don't forget to check out our other videos on job interviews.